This boy has a special ability. He can see various bacteria in everyday life. But because of this ability, Nayasu discovered something strange at school. He called the police to surround a certain area, and everyone began speculating about what might be buried underground. A professor arrived with a shovel and insisted on digging. No one could stop him. The professor was determined to dig. Suddenly, a foul, disgusting odor filled the air. While everyone else could only smell the stench, Nayasu was able to see its source. He saw strange bacteria everywhere and was confused. Nayasu didn't understand why the professor was doing this. After the smoke cleared, they discovered that what was buried in the pit was a seal. The professor explained that it was something he had buried. He had read from a book that preserving seagulls in a seal's stomach would make them taste better. The professor then took out a knife and began to cut open the seal's stomach, explaining the simple method of consumption. Everyone was shocked as the professor picked up the seagull and started eating it. Afterward, he asked if anyone else wanted a taste. He explained that after fermenting in the seal's stomach, the seagull retained the flavor of rice leaves, a method used in northern Europe for eating seagulls. The professor was very proud of this preservation method. Nayasu was repulsed, and at that moment, the professor suddenly recognized Nayasu. He had heard that Nayasu could see bacteria that others couldn't. The professor invited Nayasu to his lab to test his abilities. The professor took out a container and wanted to test Nayasu's powers. Nayasu immediately identified the bacteria as Aspergillus oryzae, but the professor's apprentice, Haruka, thought Nayasu was only guessing. She then took out 2 different kinds of yogurt, one from each country, and asked Nayasu to guess which one came from which country. Nayasu confidently picked up one yogurt and correctly identified the bacteria in it, explaining that the bacteria spoke their native language. Still, Haruka didn't believe Nayasu, so she brought out all the cultured bacteria from the lab. Nayasu was able to correctly identify each one, even describing their current mood. At that moment, a strange bacterium appeared before Nayasu. It was the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, brewer's yeast, which causes wine to become cloudy and foul-smelling. It is also the enemy of the brewing industry. Nayasu, seeing the large number of Saccharomyces cerevisiae outside the window, felt something was wrong. He quickly traced the source. Meanwhile, Takuma and Kaoru were still puzzled by the strange taste of the wine. Suddenly, the floor under Takuma's bench collapsed, and a barrel of wine fell over, spilling out a large number of Saccharomyces cerevisiae. When Hataru saw the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, he became furious. His family had always been in the wine business, but the Saccharomyces cerevisiae had ruined all their wine. The head of his family was forced to commit suicide, and the traumatic memories of that scene had deeply etched themselves into Hataru's mind. He grabbed Nayasu and, remembering his past, vowed not to let the Saccharomyces cerevisiae go free. But this was tough for Nayasu. To everyone else, the hallway seemed empty, but to Nayasu, it was filled with bacteria. The sheer number of Saccharomyces cerevisiae made it nearly impossible for Nayasu to see the path. The others urged Nayasu to hurry, and eventually, Nayasu found the source. As they opened the door, Nayasu was immediately engulfed by the bacteria. The warehouse was teeming with bacteria, and everyone quickly realized that the environment there was unsuitable for wine production. Takuma and Kaoru hid off to the side, not daring to make a sound. Hataru asked to borrow fuel from the professor to burn the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. The professor sprinkled a lot of ash into the air. It turned out that to restore the wine contaminated by Saccharomyces cerevisiae, ash was used to neutralize the acidity of the wine and eliminate the bacteria. This method had been passed down through folk traditions for a long time. Nayasu and Hataru had no idea about it. Afterward, the professor went back to his experiments, and Haruka, feeling